What is up YouTube? This is your host Yasin Nizami, and today I'm going to talk about product marketing manager. Now in my last two videos I covered product management and then marketing one-on-one for engineers. Now I'm going to explain what product marketing management is and how you as an engineer can grow your career. Now a little bit of context about myself. I have spent almost 2 decades in the IT industry and have had different roles. And so I started as a junior tech engineer in the support organization. Then I moved into operations. Then I moved into professional services. Then sales, and then within sales, I have had led teams in different countries. And while I was in sales, I was interacting very closely with sales and product and marketing in an IT organization. So I have had significant experience, and I'm sharing with you guys through this channel so that you can also benefit from it, especially for the young engineers who are still in college and university, or the one early in their career and trying to grow their career into IT or software world. What is a product marketing manager and why is it different than marketing? So marketing is basically a very broad domain, and it manages the overall marketing operations of a business, whereas product marketing manager is the person who is very much focused on a product, and he manages the overall marketing strategy about that product and works with multiple stakeholders in an organization. One thing is very important to understand is this product marketing manager role is born out of software industry, right? And the reason is because in a SaaS world or software as a service business, a product is not constant. It is dynamic. It is being evolved and changed constantly. Because when you launch a product in the early phase, then you collect a lot of feedback from the field and from the sales, and then you always go back to product to provide that feedback so that they can constantly evaluate the product and its market positioning, and then keep adding features and functionalities and maybe change its product positioning. Because the product is constantly changing, so there is always a need for a person who will always collecting feedback, doing market research, and then providing the feedback to the product development team so that they can constantly evolve that product. Now, two main responsibilities for a product marketing manager. So if you consider a black box as a overall product team, it has two interfaces. One is towards the product management team, and the product management team works with the engineering team in terms of defining the product, translating the business requirements into technical details, defining the roadmap, features, and then overall timelines in terms of how the product will be delivered, and then features will be added in terms of roadmap. The other interface is towards field, and product marketing manager fits in that category where he or she is the person interacting with the customers and the sales in terms of positioning the product, providing the messaging, and then collecting the feedback to the product team so that they can constantly evolve that. And that product marketing manager role is very important in the SaaS world or software as a service business, because that person is working with multiple stakeholders. Of course, there has to be tight alignment with the business, which is product team, but they also interact with product, with PR, analyst team in terms of providing the messaging into the ecosystem, and then they also work with legal team in terms of evaluating the legality of the product. For example, the regulatory requirements or compliancy. Whatever the product you are launching, is it going to comply with the local regulatory and security requirements from a compliance perspective? Another very important role for a product marketing manager is to have tight alignment with the product team, because he or she is the person interacting with the field, with the customers and the sales team, and collecting feedback in terms of feature requests. So you as a person needs to evaluate those feature requests that, oftentimes those feature requests come from techies who think this feature is going to be very cool and, looks very shiny, but in the end, it doesn't really drive the business case. It doesn't really solve a customer problem. In that case, you would not build a feature, which is not aligned with your product strategy and vision that where you want to, grow this product to. Then you as a person needs to, filter those requests, and only allow those requests to come to the product who you think are going to be aligned with your strategy and your product vision. In terms of product positioning and messaging, positioning means, who is your target audience, who is your smallest viable audience, because you have to target your product to the specific segment or demographics or your niche. Now, it needs to be determined at the beginning of the product launch or actually product development, because that's one of the major factors, and you have to determine whether this is a consumer focused product or is it going to be launched in the business segment, because in business segment you have other variables in terms of identifying the target niche, because it could be targeted to the small medium base business or mid-market segment or large enterprises, because all of these segments vary differently. In terms of messaging, the product needs to be explained in the simplest possible words. Just like if you're explaining your product to a grade 1 student, because in this noisy world, the customers will not remember about your product if it is not simplest to explain. Follow the rule of 3, which is FAB technique: features, advantage, benefits. If you tie your product into these simple 3 words or simple 3 steps, then it is likely the customer will remember it, and then it will always be top of the mind for them in terms of comparing your product with other competitors. And then in the end, this product marketing manager needs to work with the wider marketing team in terms of defining the go-to-market strategy. Go-to-market strategy means how you are going to launch this product. You have to work with the analyst team to kind of get the word out into the market, and then provide the messaging to the ecosystem partners, as well as you need to understand, okay, what is going to be the marketing and advertisement plan and strategy. What channel are we going to use? Is it going to be using billboards and TV commercial, or is it going to be totally digital? And then you need to determine what are the channels that we're going to use to sell this product. Sometimes if you're working for a startup, you don't have a lot of resources in terms of hiring salespeople, so you work with ecosystem partners to kind of use their sales channel to expand your market reach. And if you already have a wider sales team, then you may also work with the distributors to kind of expand your footprint in terms of how you can sell this product. And then you work with sales team in terms of developing the sales collateral, in terms of messaging, sales pitches, and then make sure that the sales team always deliver the correct messaging that you want to deliver to the target audience. Finally, if you are an engineer and you want to move your career into product marketing manager role, you need to have following skills. Number 1, the technical understanding of the product or the technical knowledge is given. That needs to be there. But then on top of that, you need to understand the business side of the things. You need to understand how the product is being developed, what's the roadmap, what's the target audience, how is it being launched into the market, what sales channel are they using, how the roadmap is being developed. And then you have to be flexible and adaptive, because oftentimes when you launch a product, you make a lot of assumptions and you think that this product will work this way, but the market and the user base will tell you exactly how they are perceiving the user experience. And then based upon that, you may have to change your strategy. If your strategy is not working, then you may have to change it and then try something different which you think may work afterwards based upon the user feedback. So it's very important. Number 3 is the communication. You have to be very good at communication, because you will be talking to a lot of people, not only the engineers but also product, marketing, sales, C-level executive, legal, and each time when you interact with those guys, you have to use a different language. You cannot use the same language as you talk to the engineers versus the C-level executive. It's a completely different scenario. And then finally, when the product is launched, in order to make it successful, you have to think about growth marketing. How are you going to grow your user base? Because that is the ultimate goal. In a SaaS world, you have to make sure how you keep growing your user base. And important to know that you can protect the churn. In a SaaS world, the biggest thing is keeping the churn low and keeping the user growth on an upward trajectory. So if you have these skills and you think you can mix your technical knowledge with the business acumen, as well as understanding of the market and how you can tell the story about your product in simple word, remember, telling the story to your customer in the simplest word is the best skill for a product marketing manager. If you can do that, There is a rewarding career waiting for you at the end of the road. Look for these jobs, especially in the SaaS world, software as a service. You will find a very rewarding career. That's it from me now. I hope you like it. If you do, give me a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button, because if you don't, you will be missing a lot of other content just like this one that I will be publishing going forward. Until my next video, take care.